All right. If I could get our three panelists to come on up to the stage. We thought it would be really good, gang, to begin our night with, look, but show of hands real quick. A couple more show of hands questions. Who in the room does not have a ChatGPT account? Raise your hand. Out. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. One person. Two. You have a chat. Come on. You have a ChatGPT. Oh, come on. Now, that's nerd speak over there. Okay. Look, our first, one of these guys, about half the room, did not have a ChatGPT account. And now one hand raised. So we've gotten from theory now into the practice, right? So we have three of the best leaders in the state of Louisiana to talk about this because the game is moving. But before we start, I want to give you guys a little context for, is my advancer hot, guys? There we go. Oops. Whoa, way back. Sorry about that. I went way back. I need that image with the car. There you go. All right. I want to show you guys a picture that's going to set the stage for what we're talking about. If you're not real familiar with artificial intelligence, this image is where we are as a business right now with AI. You have a quizzical look. Tell me what you see on that slide. Car not going anywhere, right? Gang, this image was taken in 1910 in Dearborn, Michigan. Why does that matter? Well, a guy named Henry Ford rolled off his first automobile in 1908 in Dearborn, Michigan. Now, my buddy Michael Scott's here. Wouldn't you think 2 full years had passed, Josh, and we're sitting on the porch and we go, oh, there she goes. That's a quadricycle. They call it a quadricycle. And my buddy would have said, she's a lot faster than Daisy. And I say, yeah, I think so too. But you know what you don't see here, guys? You don't see the guy to the right of this picture. It's 2 old timers in a buggy with the horse and buggy, and they're pointing at this guy as if to say, look at George, what a moron. He bought that newfangled, whatchamacallit. What wasn't ready, guys? The roads weren't ready. Did they come? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is 115 years ago. What this slide shows you is innovation and change waits for no man or woman, right? Now, here's the other thing about this slide. Let's say the most progressive of you in the audience, the ones who are like, I'm all in, I'm all AI. It's going to do everything. Do anyone want to guess what the top end speed of this buggy was when she came out? Carla, what do you think it was? High end.
4 miles an hour.
4? Carla, did you go to high school, girl? Come on. I heard 33 miles an hour. So if my buddy Carl Wall says, Henry, I couldn't be more excited about automation. He's living in a world, guys, where his car is going 33 miles an hour. These three, they're living in a world today where their automobile, their AI usage is 160 miles an hour. So I thought it was instructive to get these three up here. And again, not talk about the theory, but talk about real world. So let's get to it. First of all, 3 LSU heroes, number one, first and foremost, which I love, right? Well, I'm not going to pull Steve Webb's transcript, so the statute of limitations on your transcript is well up, so don't worry about that. Guys, the 3 gentlemen, the CEOs that you see behind me represent thousands of employees in the state of Louisiana, billions of dollars of revenue, and innovation and progress at this university. People hired, grants funded, scholarships named, et cetera. So Steve Webb, CEO of Neighbors Federal Credit Union, headquartered here in Baton Rouge. Roy Martin of the Roy O. Martin Company out of Alexandria. And Mr. Art Favre, Performance Contractors, who was one of our sponsors this semester. So again, we're going to have an informal discussion with these gentlemen about the here and now of AI. And really 3 big things. How are they thinking about the technology? What bets are they making? And what advice would they give to all these young people, right? So Mr. Webb, I'm going to start with you. Number one, because we're friends and I lost you on the golf course. So guys, I'm gonna get it out of the way. You cannot book him for Santa. He's already booked up. There's no more spots for him for Santa Claus. Am I right?
Wait a minute. There might be a couple spots.
All right. Seriously, Steve Webb and his executive team guys at Neighbors Federal Credit Union, the little sleepy credit union, right? Wrong. To my knowledge, we're the first in Louisiana to deploy an active artificial intelligence product. And that was over 2 years ago. So he bought one of those new quadricycle thingies. So Steve, can you tell our crowd what, number one, how y'all thought about that technology you deployed, and then today, what's Jenny doing at Neighbors
Jenny is actually helping us out quite a bit. Jenny is the name of our large language model we have at the office. For those of you who might get the symbolism, she's Jenny, and the name of our internet's the block, so she's Jenny on the block. Some of our leadership team didn't get it. That's okay. It's all good. But no, I mean, really, why do you do anything from an AI, from an innovation perspective? You're trying to solve a problem as effectively and as efficiently as possible. So right on the heels of ChatGPT coming out, we knew the technology existed. So it really was just an idea to see, can we do this? And with the help of Henry and some of his technological experts, we compiled, what did we compile? About 12,000 pages of data.
Every policy and procedure under the neighbor's ceiling, they thought they had 4,000 pages. It was 12,000 pages. So ask yourself in the audience, whatever business you run or own, do you know everything A to Z about your business? Of course you don't, right? Jenny does.
Jenny is great. Even the CEO knows how to use Jenny. So, I mean, there's the testament for making sure the technology has to solve the problem, but it also has to not create new problems. So this is very simple. It's very user-friendly. Type the question in, and as many of you seen, all of a sudden the prompts start coming on the page. So really has been a game changer. We can talk later about how often it gets used, how our employees have adopted to it and adapted. But Jenny is alive and well on our block today, 2 years later. So
2 full years. They're godfathers at Neighbors. Now, what does that tell you? You may or may not know what they do. Some of you might not know the difference between a credit union and a bank, but that's them leading the way. Forget that industry in business, period. Mr. Roy, I want to go to you. Lumber doesn't typically equate to those folks that are in the front of the line to innovate, right? So what I'm curious, if you wouldn't mind sharing with our audience, how do you guys think about, we don't want to be the first, but we will not be the last. How do you think?
You mean not the bleeding edge of technology, the cutting edge of technology. Well, the forest products business is about one of the most backward industries in the country. We have not innovated, and so we have made a good strive over the past 5 or 6 years to try to bring us into the 21st century with oriented strand board, plywood, and timber manufacturing, and growing trees. And there's a great science to doing that. And we want to grow trees faster, better, and cheaper than our competition. We also want to make oriented strand board, which is a commodity, faster, better, and cheaper. And so we're looking for tools to be able to do that.
Okay. And Mr.
And by the way, I've never driven 160 miles an hour. Just one.
Well, again, statute of limitations. Yeah, there. Between Alexandria and Manning, Louisiana.
I'll never tell.
That's right. Mr. Hart, same with your industry. Guys, performance contractors, if you don't know, the industrial constructors, meaning they build really, really big plants that make a lot of really, really important things that are all over this room. And Mr. Hart, when you've done that with the success that performance has done, I think sometimes as leaders, we can say, you know what? We're doing pretty well. Why should we rock the boat with change and innovation? That's not the stance you took. Can you talk us through just how you think about what risks you have to take and why?
Well, in our business, our commodity is people, right? And so we're only as good as our people. And it's very important for us to make sure that we're recruiting the right people, training the right people, getting them in the right positions, and allowing them to be successful. But we have a kind of a new slogan we've been using for a couple of years at the company, and we call it "We Build Better." And that's a pretty bold statement to make when there's thousands of contractors around the country building stuff. And so you have to be able to live up to that. And the only way you do that is through innovation. And we see AI as a profound opportunity in the construction industry. Roy said about his world. Well, construction is probably the second slowest group to get into the technology field. So we have a long way to go, but that it just sets the stage for, we think, that using the tools of AI and incorporating that into all the different types of things that we do inside our company, we see that as an amazing opportunity for us, not only to continue to grow, but to grow in a way that we can make a difference to set ourselves apart from our competition.
Let's talk the people side of the technology, guys, because 2 years ago, I heard a lot of, is this going to take my job? Am I going to get fired? I don't hear that as much anymore. However, because we built the system that Neighbors uses, I know the story with Steve and his group. Can you talk us through the change management piece at Neighbors? Because you have 286 employees. How did they take to the change? Were there some speed bumps? What advice would you give?
Well, I mean, I think we all live in a constant state of change. So anytime there's change, there's concern. Obviously, new technologies, people are concerned I'm going to be replaced. What are robotics doing? Even in our world, do you think at a credit union or financial institution, how would robotics play in that environment? Well, they may indeed. But the key thing there is, as you talk to people, it's all about really kind of road mapping their career path and trying to give someone a more really rewarding position within the company. We don't replace people with technology. We try to provide them with a career path that gives them a more rewarding job. A lot of what early on we're using technology and AI for is really more simplistic and redundant tasks. And I can't think of a worse job to have than where I'm doing a very simple-minded, redundant task over and over again. So if I can eliminate that role and give a role where actually you have a chance to learn more and express yourself more, so that when we're sitting down with one of our members, we can have a really in-depth conversation that's beneficial to everyone involved in the conversation. Because telling you what your balance is on your checking account, that's kind of boring to do that 200 times a day. Well, now, not with Jenny, but with another AI application we have, you call the phone, it tells you what your balance is. It's very quick. In fact, that other success story, looking at some numbers today from your dear friend Brandy, made sure she gave me up-to-date numbers. But with the AI piece on our phone system, it's answering 95,000 phone calls a year. 95,000 phone calls a year that an employee doesn't have to pick up and answer. It's a chat bot, it's an AI voice, but that's 95,000 very kind of mundane, simple requests it handles. So our team can actually get involved in much more complex. So I think our team, nervous, anxiety exists, nervous to begin with, but I think we've gone through a couple of situations where we've implemented the technology and people haven't lost their jobs. They actually are getting a different position in the company. That's the key.
Roy and Art, I want to take you guys inside your factory and on a job site. If you guys can pinpoint for the audience, what's the top of the list? That one procedure or workflow or job that you'd say, gosh, we have to automate that. What's the lowest hanging fruit in the factory?
How many hours do we have? Well, to give you all a size, we have 1,400 employees. And when we started our AI venture, we had 1,100 employees. So we've grown 300 employees since the implementation of several AI systems in our business. And to give you a size, the OSB plant that we run, we have 3 of them, would wrap around Tiger Stadium. They're over, 3,000 feet long in total. We have 7 people now that run the plant. We have 1 in the beginning, 2 press operators, 1 heat system, and 3 driving forklift and strapping. So we don't have that many people, but what AI has done for us is we have made that plant much more consistent since then. We didn't stay in the state. We hired a company called Smart Tech out of Tel Aviv, Israel. And they worked on it for free, basically, for 6 months to prove themselves. And so now we have an AI system that basically runs our plant. We call it an automatic all the time. Also, robotics. We've taken away on our plywood facility no joy jobs. Who wants to take a piece of veneer and push it in a dryer for the rest of their life? Nobody wants to do that. That's punishment for not making good grades in your finals. And that's the kind of job you're going to get if you do that. So, but those kind of no joy jobs we're trying to eliminate right now by rethinking how we make plywood. It's an old, mature industry. How do we do it better without as many people so that we can take those people, not fire them because you can't find people, and to put them on value added lines to do something else with a piece of plywood. The back office stuff also, our logistics team has implemented a load board that goes out and seeks different transportation companies for the lanes that we want to deliver products to, that they knowing they have backhaul so we can get a better price. So it's been a slow implementation, but it's getting faster and faster and faster. We just need to teach these large language models how to speak Cajun because they have not done that yet. And we have all this maintenance tasks that we have done for decades, that we need to have a large language model so a millwright or an electrician can say, this piece of machinery is broken down and these are the symptoms of what's happened in the past, and bring that up. So that requires a tremendous amount of data scrubbing. And so we're in the middle of doing that.
Mr. Art, those complex, big old things y'all build, what's that one job where you say, please, if we could just give it to the machines?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head by saying complex jobs, because when you're building these mega projects for the various companies, they literally consist of millions and millions of pieces that have to go together. And the logistics of keeping up with all those pieces and making sure that each piece has the right specification for the right process pipeline that it's going into and those sorts of things. It's very complicated. It's very manpower intensive. It gets old after a while, and it's just complex. And so one of the things we think we can get the most bang for the buck is working through AI systems to figure out how we can automate that process to where we know that it's not left up to a human not to make a mistake. And we think that's going to allow us to have much safer projects, allow us to get them built quicker, and certainly give a better product to our customers at the end.
It's a great answer. Okay, students, listen up. Guys, I want you to look at these young people in the audience at 22, 21, 23 years old. Mr. Art, I'll go back to you. Advice that, knowing what you know, a little bit about the technology, what's coming, what advice would you give these smart young people about how to chart their future, what performance might be looking for, and what advice would you give them kind of coming into the job market, knowing they've got this superpower in their hand?
Well, I think it's a golden opportunity. I would say that if you're a person that likes to be an independent thinker, if you're a person that enjoys getting personal satisfaction out of doing something right and putting your heart and soul into trying to make something happen, and then seeing the results of that, being successful or maybe not successful, and going and doing it again and figuring it out the second time and getting it right. If you enjoy those challenges, if with the tool of AI and in industries like construction or timber or anybody up here, quite honestly, the sky's the limit. Look, there's so much construction that's going to happen in the next 10 years, just talking about our industry, that we can't do it with the trained people that we have in America today. There's just not enough of them. So if we don't use facilities like AI and other areas to advance productivity with the people that we do have, and let the brain power of our people utilize tools, and we look at AI as a big tool, a very powerful tool. But if we're not doing that correctly, then it's not going to happen. So for y'all coming out of college now and in the next few years, I mean, the sky's the limit. You have an opportunity to come into companies like ours and not only use what you've learned and your skill sets from LSU or other universities, but you can also, you have the opportunity to grow a career. And as this whole AI realm expands over the coming 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to be a win-win for you and your future families and everything. I mean, it's going to be a great opportunity. And I think it will be very, very gratifying to the ones that really get in it and stick to it and become very good in their field, because the sky's the limit.
Taking risks at that age, knowing what Mr. Art just said, he's right. This is the biggest change of any of our lifetimes. What would be your risk tolerance if you're 22 years old and know how to code, you know about AI?
Art, that was a great answer. And you know, we're going through another industrial revolution right now, except it's about 400,000 times faster than the previous one. And so when you're coming out of school, there are 7 million jobs available in the country right now, 7 million. But the skill set is here and the jobs are here. You've got to be able to come out of college ready to learn, because you're not going to really know anything, regardless if you made straight A's. You've got to be able to work hard and ask your employer, what's my pathway? I want to be here, and know where you want to be. Know what you want to be good at. Understand yourself, and it's not always going to be easy. Take the hard stuff in school. I promise it will pay off. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for problem solvers. And we will take you at Royal Martin, we will find what you're really good at, and we're going to put you there. You may come, I have one of my HR directors is a mechanical engineer. How did those two things go? Because that's what she's good at. She is good at that kind of thing. She's excellent. And we may have a business major being a plant manager. We have an accountant being the director of OSB. We want to take those leadership skills and develop them so that you can make a lot more money for your family, and be satisfied with your job progression, because that's what Generation Z wants right now. They want a pathway, and we want at Royal Martin, we want to give them a pathway. Art's got something that he hasn't told you about. He does something amazing every time he gets a job. He can go out and get 1,500 people virtually overnight. We struggle to get 30. They have the network of people. They've developed that network in the state of Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas. They can ring the bell about, and all the people just come. And so,
By the way, that's based on technology.
based on technology. But it's a great system, whatever it is. So they've done a great job in construction. But like I say, AI is not going to take your job unless you don't know how to use AI. That's my advice for you.
Steve Webb, I'm curious. Let's wrap it up. What does a credit union look like in 2035? It's 10 years from now.
Well, that's.
I know you're going to be on a farm in Mississippi,
Yeah,
and you won't even be there, but that's okay.
That's what was on my mind, absolutely. It's really going to be interesting. I think, financial services in general, what's it going to look like? I mean, a lot of it's self-help. The technology already exists today for you to do a lot of the business by yourself. I think it's going to be a much more of a consultative business model than a transactional business model. I'm sad to say, I think, institutions, not just credit unions, community banks, and all, they're going to be larger. I think it's just so hard to compete because the things we're talking about, the technology is amazing, but it's not cheap. So you're going to have to be very efficient to be able to afford to offer these type of things. If you don't offer it, then you'll cease to exist. That's the unfortunate reality. But I think what you'll see is an institution that is not so much focused on cashing your paycheck on Friday. It's going to be direct deposit on Wednesday anyway. And even along that, I mean, some of the things we look at is that direct deposit at ACH. Well, what's happening with all these new rails that are out there? What's happening with the new ways to move money around in instantaneous movement? So it's really interesting time to see where it's going to go. And, using your debit card, are you going to continue to do that? Or are there going to be instantaneous ways? Your phone, you don't need a debit card. It'll go over a different rail. So it's an interesting time for technology and the things that are being put in place today. It's a little bit scary. Some of those other rails pay us revenue that we may not have. So like every other business, we have to be flexible. We have to adapt, and you can't be scared of the future. You just have to keep your eyes open, see what these young students are developing, because it may be the secret sauce for your success in the future.
Well said. I'm going to close with this, guys. The AI rundown you just got was great. These three were responsible for hiring Lane Kiffin. So I think Mr. Art gets to call 1st and 10 against Clemson 320 days from now. So we give it up for 3 LSU heroes.